Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please put your hands together for our mistress of ceremony for the evening, LaToya Edwards. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Isn't she wonderful? I never thought so long we'd be making one as lovely as she. Isn't she lovely, naturally?
Wowee, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, everyone, it's time to sit at our seats. So I'm going to try something that usually works in first grade, and let's see if it works here to get everybody to sit down and not talk. Here we go. Let's try it. Shh. You guys must have been excellent students in kindergarten and first grade. Thank you so much. All right. Well, let's try this out. Good evening. I know it's a Tuesday night, but let's pretend it's a Friday night. Let's try that one more time. Good evening. There we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Whittier Street Health Center's annual roast. If you didn't hear, my name is LaToya Edwards, and I am the evening anchor for NECN, New England Cable News. You can catch me every night except for tonight because I get to hang with you guys tonight, so I'm excited to be here. All right. Thank you. You can clap. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, let me tell you something. Let me promise you something right now. Tonight, I don't know what you dealt with outside, but tonight we're going to have you escape a little bit. If you had a good day at work, wonderful. If you had a bad day at work, don't worry about it because you're about to have a really great time. And this is the promise that we make to you. You will get out by 9 o'clock tonight. You will be on the road by 9 o'clock. Now, isn't that something to clap about? Okay, tonight we are privileged to be roasting Dr. Edward Benz, a man who has a great sense of humor, who says he's a glutton for punishment, and really a hero in the medical world, president and CEO of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, a man who has dedicated his professional career to cancer research and ensuring everyone, regardless of their background, has access to the highest quality of cancer care. Let's give him a round of applause for being here tonight. So as you can see, this is not your boring, stuffy type of event. This is an interactive thing. If I ask you a question, I expect an answer. So here's a question. Do you feel good tonight? Yes. All right, well, let's get this party started. I feel good. We are going to introduce, let me wait for you. We are introducing the participants of this evening's program.
So good,
like you. Ow, I love that scream again. Give it to me one more time. All right. Dr. David Nathan, President Emeritus of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. He will be part of the evening. Frederica Williams, President and CEO of Whittier Street Health Center. Let's welcome her, everyone. Dr. Nancy Berliner, Chief of the Division of Hematology for Brigham and Women's Hospital. Give a big round of applause. Gary Countryman, Chairman Emeritus of Liberty Mutual Group. Dr. Joseph Martin, esteemed Professor of Neurobiology at Harvard Medical School. Richard Walsh, President and CEO of Walsh Brothers Incorporated. Tim Benz, host of the X Morning Show for 105.9 FM, and he is the son of Dr. Benz. We can't wait to hear from him tonight. Deborah Miller, Chair of the Whittier Street Health Center's Board of Directors, Reverend Herman Hamilton, Pastor for Roxbury Presbyterian Church. Let's give our esteemed panel a huge round of applause for being here. Okay, everyone, I hope you're not comfortable because we need you to stand on your feet right now. Please, everyone, rise. Let's get the blood flowing. As we introduce you to the man of the hour, the man you all came here for, the man who we are rallying and honoring and ultimately roasting this evening, the man who says he is going to give it as much as he gets it. Let's give a huge, huge, huge welcome to Dr. Edward Benz, Jr. the spotlight on him, everyone. Dr. Benz, are you ready for this? Are you ready? I am ready. This is the last time these people will be laughing with you. Now they'll be laughing at you after tonight. You can sit down. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me welcome Dr. Ed to this evening's event. And now it's really my pleasure to introduce a queen at Whittier Street Health Center. Do you love Whittier Street Health Center and its mission? Let's give them a round of applause. And the woman who I'm going to call up to the podium right now, I know you know her. She stands out in a crowd. She's like a goddess. She has an aura of royalty around her, and we all know she is a woman who deserves the ultimate respect. Let's welcome right now to the podium Whittier Street Health Center's president and CEO, Frederica Williams, everyone.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. Thank you, LaToya. Good evening. Welcome to Whittier Street Health Center's 2001 roast for Dr. Edward Benz. Tonight, we're honoring Ed for his leadership in increasing access to critical cancer care for underserved populations in Boston, and for his dedication to eliminating disparities in cancer through research and community-based services. Before we begin tonight's festivities, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. The communities we serve face numerous barriers that limit their ability to maintain a long-term relationship with a healthcare provider. These barriers lead to prolonged disparities in health outcomes that make communities like ours more prone to debilitating chronic diseases. Whittier Street Health Center stands as a community partner to ensure increased access to high-quality healthcare for our most vulnerable populations. The care we provide is predicated on breaking down barriers to care and building lifelong partnerships with our patients around healthy living. As you will see in the upcoming video about Whittier, we are out in the community providing innovative programs to connect those hardest to reach to critical healthcare services. Your support tonight allows us to provide free services and community resources that help members of our communities overcome obstacles to good health and to engage them in high-quality, cost-effective care. We're in the midst of constructing a new state-of-the-art health center in Roxbury. Thank you. Over the past 5 years, Whittier has experienced a 20% annual increase in patient visits, and we desperately need more space to meet the healthcare and social services needs of our community. By being here tonight, each one of you has helped to bring someone new through our doors, someone who otherwise would have gone without care. On behalf of our patients, board, and staff at Whittier, I extend thanks to all of you. Tonight, we're here to honor Dr. Edward Benz, the president and CEO of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Many of you are aware of his great accomplishments around cancer research and his leadership in ensuring everyone has access to high-quality cancer care. His achievements in these areas are impressive. In addition to leading Dana-Farber through rapid growth over the past 10 years, Dr. Benz works in the lab as an NIH-funded investigator on the molecular pathology of red cell disorders. His research and insight into the science behind cancer are groundbreaking. Under Ed's leadership, Dana-Farber has added 4 new satellites around Greater Boston, opened the beautiful Yorkie Center for Cancer Care, doubled the number of employees dedicated to cancer research and care, while also doubling patient volume over the past 10 years. As a Dana-Farber trustee, I have had the privilege of seeing Ed behind the scenes and immediately recognized his steadfast commitment to improving the delivery of cancer services to Boston's low-income and underserved neighborhoods. The Dana-Farber mammography van, which provides breast cancer screenings to low-income women in the community, was implemented at Dana-Farber less than 2 years after Ed became president and CEO. The van is a fixture once a month at Whittier and allows our patients to access the vital services in the comfort of their community. We are also seeing impressive results through our Cancer Survivorship Clinic, created and supported in partnership with Ed and Dana-Farber. Through the Survivorship Clinic, we are effectively connecting patients back to their primary care, ensuring improved survivorship outcomes and continued management of other health conditions and comorbidities. Ed has consistently demonstrated leadership and commitment to ensuring Dana-Farber and its life-saving services are accessible to all. Ed recognizes that it is not just about opening your doors, it is about proactively reaching deep into the community to ensure those most at risk for adverse outcomes are given the knowledge, tools, and resources needed to overcome cancer. Ed and Dana-Farber have created the first Cancer Care Equity Program, a blueprint for eliminating disparities in oncology care and education. Whittier will be partnering with Dana-Farber to implement this Cancer Care Equity Program. In 2012, 6 Dana-Farber oncologists from 6 different disease centers will begin rotating at our new health center several times each month, offering consults, second opinions, and when necessary, referrals to Dana-Farber and the Brigham and Women's Hospital. This investment in our community and patients will make a huge impact in addressing cancer disparities. It is this ultimate commitment to the community that impresses me most about Ed, and I see it not only through his words, but through his actions. We cannot thank him enough for all he has done for our community. Thank you, Ed, for your leadership and commitment. I would also like to thank those who made this event possible. Thank you to our Roast Committee, especially our co-chairs, Gary Countryman and Richard Walsh. They have been the driving force behind the success of our fundraising efforts, and the entire committee needs to be congratulated for a successful event. I would also like to thank our Toastmistress, Latoya Edwards, and Reverend Herman Hamilton for tonight's invocation. We have a great lineup of roasters who I am sure will provide us with some great material on Ed. Dr. David Nathan, President Emeritus of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Yes. Dr. Nancy Berliner, Chief of the Division of Hematology at the Brigham and Women's Hospital. Dr. Joseph Martin, Edward R. and Ann G. Leffler Professor of Neurobiology at the Harvard Medical School. And of course, Tim Benz, radio host of X Morning Show, WXDX FM 105.9 in Pittsburgh, and also Dr. Benz's son. Thank you all for your willingness to put Ed on the hot seat, and thanks, Ed, for being on the hot seat for us. We greatly appreciate the support of our sponsors who have shown their commitment to Whittier and Dana-Farber. Our presenting sponsor, Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Our lead donors, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, the Brigham and Women's Hospital, Partners Healthcare, the Yorkie Foundations, Walsh Brothers. Our benefactors, Bank of America, Liberty Mutual. Our patrons, Children's Hospital Boston, Citizens Financial Group, Edward G. Sawyer Inc., John Hancock Financial Services, Joshua and Anita Beckenstein Charitable Fund, National Grid, NSTAR, Suffolk Construction Company, and the TJX Foundation. Our contributors are the Boston Medical Center, Boston Private Bank and Trust, Dominic Hicks and Colmanic, Donahue Barrett and Singal, Celtic Care, our very own Gary Countryman, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Foundation, Neighborhood Health Plan, Northeastern University, Novartis, P.S. Lynch Charitable Lead Annuity Trust, Roxbury Technology Corporation, Sovereign Bank, Sullivan and McLaughlin Companies, Inc., TD Bank, the Bill Companies, Thomas G. Gallagher, University of Massachusetts, Boston. Thank you to all of our table sponsors and all of our other supporters for your continued support. At this time, I'd like to invite Richard Walsh, President and CEO of Walsh Brothers and co-chair of this year's Roast Committee. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Thanks.
Can you imagine following LaToya and Frederica? I feel like the thorn after two roses. But thank you so much, Frederica, and welcome everyone. On behalf of my fellow co-chair, Gary Countryman, and the members of this year's Roast Committee, I could not be happier to welcome you to this year's night of mayhem. It's truly an honor. I cannot think of a better person to roast this year than my good friend, Dr. Ed Benz. But I must tell you, at first, when I was presented with this opportunity, I thought, where are we going to get dirt on this guy? Well, let me tell you, we put our investigative hats on, and you'll see later in the program that we've got some good stuff. And I'm hard-pressed to find an organization more worthy of our support tonight than, of course, the Whittier Street Health Center. It has been a remarkable 12 months for both Dana-Farber and Whittier Street. For those of you who have not had the opportunity to see the new Yorkie Center for Cancer Care, Dana-Farber's newest building, built through the vision of Dr. Benz, let me assure you that it is truly a remarkable facility, built 100% with the patient in mind. It is a place where cancer care will be the best that it can be. In addition, I look forward to the upcoming opening of Whittier's new facility next year, which will help increase access to quality health care, in particular, quality cancer screening and follow-up care. Frederica's leadership at the center and her contribution to the community are truly, truly remarkable. The residents of Boston are very fortunate to have access to both of these vital healthcare resources. And I hope that through both Dana-Farber and Whittier's tireless work, we will be able to declare someday soon that we have conquered cancer. I just recently lost my dad to lung cancer, so I can't tell you how close to my heart this mission is. So, let me thank all of you for attending and showing your support for Whittier and Dr. Benz, and I hope you enjoy this evening very, very much. Thank you very much for being here. Now, please help me welcome my fantastic roast co-chair, Mr. Gary Countryman. Gary?
love it. Thank you, Richard, and welcome to every one of you in this room to this roast this evening. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it a lot. And as for you, Ed, all I can say is God bless you and keep you safe. This could be a very, very long evening. Actually, Ed, I want to congratulate you and thank you for doing this tonight for a very worthy organization. Now more than ever, Boston's traditional underserved populations need access to quality and affordable health care. For many Boston residents, Whittier Street Health Center is the only outlet available to them. I invite you now to watch this brief video highlighting just a few of the critical programs available to Boston residents because of the tireless work of Whittier. And then after the video, I'll come back for a minute and ask a small favor of all of you, or could be a large favor. In any case, enjoy the video.
Our patients are disproportionately affected by a variety of key health and social conditions, including diabetes, cancer, obesity and overweight, hypertension, HIV/AIDS, community violence, limited access to fresh, healthy foods, and exposure to environmental hazards. Whittier works with community partners to incorporate social determinants of health into our overall services. Whittier is recognized as a center focused on empowering and activating patients so they can be better engaged in self-management and attain improved health. Our culturally competent services and patient navigation and case management approach to comprehensive care helps patients control chronic conditions and maintain treatment adherence.
Just again, so what do we do now? Okay.
In the Pediatrics Healthy Weight program, we focus on nutrition, on behavior modification, on self-esteem issues, and teach them about healthcare and physical activity.
Right. They put this in salsa. You get to choose. Pink. You want pink?
First, we cut some things up. We put it all in one bowl. We started mixing it and stuff. So then I took some chips and I crumbled them in and I mixed it up and I ate some. It was really good. Whittier Street is the best place I can go to, and you know, like Whittier Street can be like it can be like this special place. It's like a dream where you get to do whatever you want here.
The focus of Project Me is on HIV prevention. We recently opened a drop-in center in Dudley Square to reach out to people who don't typically come to a clinical setting to access healthcare, so we can provide healthcare out in the community.
When I walked up in there for the very first time, it made me feel like home. I felt welcome. I felt like a burden was lifted.
Staff at Project Me reflect the community, so when somebody comes into the drop-in center, they see familiar faces, they see people who have gone through some of the same struggles as them, and they are easily able to connect to staff in order to access services at the drop-in center, and then to eventually access services at Whittier when they're ready.
I would recommend anyone to access and utilize service over here at Whittier. I'm here every day, just about every other day. I'm basically always over here.
We serve Roxbury, and we have amongst the highest rate of infant mortality, of low birth weight, and premature delivery in the city.
Everybody has different experiences throughout their pregnancy, and you know, that's pretty good to learn about other people's experience, especially when I'll be the first time mom.
The goal is really for a woman to begin to take charge of her own body and her own health care, and to see herself as in charge of her pregnancy and her health.
My doctor is Dr. Holland. That's my doctor, and she, I always call her for any information, like if anything's wrong, and she always got answers for me, you know, and if I'm not feeling well, we have a really good relationship. I really do like that about this clinic.
The group is led by a facilitator, but the women really develop a support system amongst themselves and really help each other. It really shows the universal process of pregnancy. It crosses all lines.
I've been coming to Whittier Street Health Center for 54 years. Whittier Street's a good place to come, and people are nice here, and they treat you with politeness and things. But the main thing I come here for is my eyes and my primary care. I come to Whittier Street for. I go to Dana-Farber for the cancer and anything else.
Dana-Farber and Whittier Street Health Center have a shared vision to address cancer disparities in low-wealth and minority communities.
Dana-Farber is working on improving the outcome for all cancer patients. And to address disparities in cancer outcomes and cancer care, we're engaged in a number of initiatives. We know that people from different geographic locations and different ethnic groups have different forms of cancers that otherwise look the same under the microscope. African American men are 2 to 3 times more likely to die of prostate cancer than men from other ethnic groups.
Like I'm over in Dana-Farber, and last time I went was November. It came back 0.01, so that can't get too much better than that. So hopefully I'll jump up for joy one day.
Because demand for our primary care services continue to steadily increase, we're in the process of constructing a brand new state-of-the-art patient-centered medical home in Roxbury. At approximately 80,000 square feet, our new health center will double the capacity of our current location, allowing for increased community reach and services, including a community cancer clinic to bring cancer care directly to those most in need, and an urgent care clinic to reduce the inappropriate use of emergency rooms. This new building will give us the capacity to provide up to 220,000 visits annually to address wellness and prevention.
Whittier Street Health Center is a great resource for the Roxbury community. The CEO, Frederica Williams, is a visionary, and she has really put together a wonderful set of programs there. And we think that by partnering with Whittier Street and with her, that we will be able to gain better trust of the community, to get their input and have them teach us what we can do better to address their needs.
This long-standing partnership with Dana-Farber will be expanded in our new building, where we will have a fixed mammography unit, expanded services for survivorship, and a community cancer clinic that will help us to address the cancer disparities that plague the communities we serve.
Thank you. So I think you will agree that this video was a terrific summary of what Whittier is all about and why we're all here tonight. And now for that little favor I mentioned. As many of you know, we set a very high fundraising goal for this year's roast, $600,000. In order to reach that goal, we need the help of all 600 individuals present here tonight. And so I ask you to show your support for the thousands of Boston residents who depend on Whittier Street Health Center for their health care needs. At each of your seats, you'll find a pledge card. It's actually an envelope to support Whittier. Please take a moment to make a pledge in Dr. Ben's honor and have your name etched on a brick in Whittier's new facility on Tremont Street. And if you'll look here, you'll see what your money will do, examples of what your money will do. $5,000 provides critical support to Whittier's community cancer clinic to eliminate the significant cancer disparities that exist in our community. $2,500 will help establish Whittier's Adolescent Healthy Weight Clinic to confront the obesity epidemic impacting the health and future of Boston's youth. $1,000 will assist Whittier in building its diabetes management and prevention department to provide educational and critical services to diabetic and pre-diabetic patients. $500 will support Whittier's Centering Pregnancy program to address high rates of infant mortality in Boston. There's a whole range of things. And there's also another category called Other, and we would welcome any gifts that you might give. So I would hope tonight that each one of you would search your hearts and make a contribution, make a pledge. You can put the check in the envelope if you like. We like that a lot. If you want to put green money in there, that's okay too. But you can also check off and we'll invoice you later. Any way you want to pay was fine with us. So I hope many of you will contribute here tonight, and I want to thank you very much for your consideration, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and a lot of fun at Ed Ben's expense. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary, for that wonderful presentation, and thank you to all of you. I don't know, for Frederica, it really doesn't explain why she picked me to host this event. And the reason she did, I mean, she could have asked anybody who does television. A million people would want to volunteer. But the reason why I show up for Whittier is because, this is probably important for you guys, because people ask you to write checks all the time, but you never really meet the people who actually benefit from the checks in person. You see the videos, but you don't meet them. Well, hi, my name's LaToya. And my parents, before I ever became a journalist, before I ever was on the dean's list or any of these great things that I've done, I was a kid who hung out at Whittier Street. My parents were teenage parents. My mother was 16. My father was 18 when he had me. They realized they didn't work well together, but they realized they wanted to be great parents. And so my dad would get me on the weekends. And he lived in the Whittier Street housing project in Roxbury. And so I didn't know what Whittier Street really was. I just knew if I banged myself up at the playground, somebody patched me up over at the health center over there. And so I love Whittier for that, for taking care of me on the weekends when I would hang out with my dad. But also, when I think of what Whittier is doing now, it makes me happy but a little sad, because every time I drive by Whittier Street Health Center, I also look across the street and I think about when my grandmother, who was this operator, telephone operator at Jordan Marsh. Do you remember Jordan Marsh, the store? Well, she used to work there. My grandmother was a hardworking woman, had 5 kids. Her husband died early. And so she had that job, and she lived at Whittier Street Health Center. And so my Nana, I would go over there and visit her, and she didn't have cancer. Like so many African-American women, she had cancer not once. She had breast cancer, then she had bone cancer, and she survived all those, but she finally died from lung cancer. And she had great care, but I just wish that the community cancer center that's going to be built with the help of Whittier and Dana-Farber, I wish that was there for her. You know, I wish she could have seen it, because even though she had great care, it was hard for her to get to her appointments, and that center is going to be like right steps away from where she used to live. And so, you know, I'm so happy that it's being built, and I'm sad that she couldn't be there to see it, but I know there are so many other grandmothers in Boston and in Whittier who are going to benefit. So even if you're thinking like, oh, another envelope to fill out, please, please do it. We appreciate it. Give yourselves a round of applause for being generous. Okay, enough serious stuff. Now on to the most exciting, well, at least one of the most exciting parts of this evening, where all of you can participate. I know some of you have already been looking through your program book and saw some of the auction items you intend to win. You will find your auction paddles at your tables. Please raise your paddle very high to bid on an item. And if you bid a good bid and no one's bidding against you, then bid against yourself. How about that? And if you're the lucky person to win an item, a Whittier volunteer will come to you and take down your information. Remember to bid high and often. And I'm now pleased to introduce to you our guest auctioneer, Mr. Charles Bailey Gates. Let's welcome him.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Bailey Gates, and I'm going to be your auctioneer for this evening. It's a pleasure and an honor to be your auctioneer for the Whittier Street Health Center. Love the music. Now is the time. This is the time. This is a full production that happens here. There are 5 VIP packages here. What's the value? Pretty much who showed up and who cares. We're going to get right into this auction here, but first of all, I need to see your paddles here and show me that you have them. Can you show me a paddle here, Boston? Nice. First item of a bid here, we're going to start off here with Breakfast with the Mayor. Do I do a Breakfast with the Mayor and then I get a song, or do I just go into Breakfast with the Mayor? I'm going to go into Breakfast with the Mayor. Breakfast with the Mayor is a 2-night stay at the Holiday Inn in Boston and Beacon Hill with breakfast. Dinner at Aquitaine, inspired by Parisian neighbor bistros, innovative and yet traditional French cuisine by executive chef owner Seth Woods. Community boating, membership 60-day. This member of sailing, kayaking, and windsurfing, and includes instruction and guest privileges. Number 5, Boston Glider Segway, tour of Boston, 2-person, 1-hour adventure exploring the Boston Harbor Walk, Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy Greenway. Number 6, now I want you to take note here, you're getting 6 VIP experiences all in one. Last one is the Boston Symphony Orchestra, behind-the-scenes tour of the world-renowned Boston Symphony Orchestra. Like I said, who showed up and who cares? Is there an opening donation to get this one going? Who's going to be able to buy? Okay. Now we're playing the music.
We got a special Boston package.
What's that?
It's a special Boston package.
Breakfast with the Mayor.
I'm going to tell you about Boston.
Okay.
Huh. I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you about my town. I'm gonna tell you a big bad story, baby. It's all about my town. Hey, well, I love that dirty water. Boston, you're my home.
Breakfast with the Mayor. Is there an opening donation to get this one going? I apologize here, $7,000 on this one. Get about $5,000 here. Now's the time to raise your paddle. Is there an opening donation of $5,000 on this one? Get about $5,000. Must start at 3/3 of the value. $3,000 opening donation here for the Whittier Center here tonight. $3,000 here. Mayday, Mayday. Is there a buyer out there? $3,000 should be over to $2,500. $2,000. I have the gentleman at $2,000 here looking for $2,100. Where? I have $2,000. They're looking for 21/3 of the value here. Not even there. Raise your card now. At $2,000, you're looking for 21. Boy, you guys get real quiet. Get real quiet. $2,000, you're looking for 21. I have 21. You're looking for 22, sir. What happened, sir? I have 22 here, looking for $2,300 here. It's an auction. Time to raise your paddles now. I have $2,200 here, looking for 2,300. 23. It's Breakfast with the Mayor. 23, 24. I'll throw in an interpreter. What do you want from me? I have $2,300. They're looking for $2,400. Where? $2,300. They're looking for 24. Now's the time to support the Whittier Street Center. $2,300. They're looking for 24. I'm looking for your cards here. $2,300. They're looking for 24. Gallery value, retail value, $7,000 there. I have $2,300. They're looking for 24. Mayday, Mayday. I have $2,300. They're looking for $2,400. Where? $2,300 here going once. Boy, you guys are real quiet. $2,300 here going twice. $2,300 here going 3 times. $2,300, the gentleman on the board, and give him a round of applause here. Come on now, Boston. The Finer Things package. Do you want me to describe it? Okay, Finer Things package. I want you to take note. There are 4 items in this particular one.
Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz.
It is the Finer Things package. It is the Ritz-Carlton. You'll have one-night accommodations at an executive suite with a bottle of champagne and dinner and breakfast for 2. Second, a time ritual spa treatment at the Mandarin Oriental, Boston. A time ritual spa treatment is tailor-made, designed to restore your natural state of equilibrium. Number 3, you'll also receive 4 Red Sox tickets in the EMC Box Tour. Sold out. 4 front row seats at the EMC Club, VIP tour of Fenway Park, watch Red Sox batting practice, warning track, also includes a customized message, centerfold scoreboard, and in-seat service dinner to the game with a complimentary food and non-alcoholic drinks. Number 3, 2 Berkeley Performance Center tickets, 2 tickets to any performance at the Berkeley Performance Center. And finally, a week stay on Cape. Property is on the waterfront of the Eastham, Massachusetts. This sleeps 6 people close to the beaches. Cape Cod National Seashore, Cape Cod Rail Train, used before July 1st or after September 5th. Ritz-Carlton, time ritual spa, 4 Red Sox tickets, 2 Berkeley performances, week stay at the Cape. Add it all up at Valerie, about $8,000. Is there an opening donation here for the Whittier Center tonight? $8,000 should be over to open this one. $8,000, $7,000. It's official. I'm official. $5,000 where should be over to this one. $5,000 on this one to get it going. $5,000 here. $4,000 where? $3,000 where? Is there an opening donation here with $3,000 on this particular package here tonight? $2,000 where? I have $2,000. I don't mind starting in the basement, but I'm going to get to the attic here. I have $2,000 here looking for $2,250. $2,500, madam. $2,500. I have the gentleman at $2,250 looking for $25. $25. $27,750, sir. Don't climb the mountain and not get to the top, sir. $27.50. I have $2,500 here looking for $27.50. $2,500. We haven't even gotten to the Cape yet. $2,500 and looking for $27.50. $27.50. $3,000 here. $3,000. $32.50, madam. We got a $600,000 goal and we got to make it here tonight. $3,000, madam. $3,000. I can't tell. $32.50, sir. I have the lady at $3,000 here looking for $32.50. $32.50. $35, madam. $35. If you're gonna spend $32.50, what's $35? Woo, woo. $35. $37.50. I have $3,500 here looking for $37.50. $4,000. It's just money. It's paper. It gets in your way. $37.50 looking for $4,000. I have a gentleman in the middle at $37.50 looking for $4, madam. Madam, look at me. I'm your best friend. That might be your husband or whatever. $4,000, $42.50. I have $4,000 here looking for $42.50. $4,000 here. Raise your card for the Whittier Center here tonight. $4,000 looking for $42.50. $42.50. $45, madam. Madam, you're a W-O-M-A-N, and I'm going to say it again. We need your help right now. I have $42.50 here looking for $4,500 here. I have the gentleman at $42.50 here looking for $45. Anyone else? I have $42.50 here looking for $45. $42.50 here going once. $42.50 here going twice. $42.50 going 3 times. $42.50, the gentleman in the center ring, and give him a round of applause here. Come on, Boston. I know it's Tuesday, but it's your night. Third item up for bid, the ultimate getaway.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again.
This is the ultimate getaway. It's pilot flights to Martha's Vineyard for lunch. Our roast chair, Gary Countryman, will pilot the flight to Martha's Vineyard for a lunch at his home. That's first. 2, you'll get a Boston Coach Town Car, chauffeured car to go from the airport, piloted by flight to Martha's Vineyard. Number 3, dinner at Esplanade, a premier French restaurant with emphasis on New England artisanal ingredients. Number 4, Veranda Resort Spa Antigua. The Veranda Resort is an eco-friendly luxury retreat which provides stunning setting for romance, family fun, sumptuous indulgence. It's 200 villa-styled suites, all featured oversized verandas, incredible water views 7 nights, all-inclusive resorts and extra daily fees applied to food and drink and etc. Number 5, JetBlue. You'll also have JetBlue airfare, 2 round-trip tickets anywhere JetBlue flies. You can use it for this trip or another trip of your choice. Is there an opening donation here? Now is the time to step up for the Whittier Center here tonight. Is there an opening donation to get this one going? You can see the starting bid of $5,000, $10,000. Can you get the light out of my face? I can't see anybody. I appreciate it. I can't see anybody. Opening donation of $10,000 here. $9,000 should be over to $9. You did a bit of the price. You did a bit of $5,000 to get this one going and help the center here tonight. $5,000 should be over to $5,000 where? $4,000 where? $3,000 is an opening donation. Thank you, sir. $3,000, $3,500. I have a gentleman at $3,000. You're looking for $3,500 where? $3,000 looking for 31. We'll take little baby steps. 31, 2. All right, 31, 31, 32, 32, now 3. All right, 32, hit a little bit 3. I have $3,200 here at 3. Let's have an auction. Come on, come on. I have the gentleman at 32, 33, you'd have been at 34, you'd have been at 33, you'd have been at 34. I can't tell, sir. When my wife does this, it means yes, sir. I have 30, 34, 5. I have 34, hit a little bit of 5, you'd have been at $3,400. You're looking for 35. What happened to you back there? I have the gentleman here in front at $3,400. You're looking for 35. Now's the time to raise your card. $3,400. You're looking for 35 for $100. I have the gentleman at $3,400 at 35, 36, sir, 36, $3,500, you'd have been at 36. If you're gonna spend 35, what's 36, sir? I have $3,500, you're looking for $3,600, $100. I have 35 here, looking for 36, I can't tell. I have $3,500, you're looking for 36. Please raise your card here for the Whittier Center here tonight. I have 35 here, looking for $3,600 here now, sir. 35, 36, 36. Give me a chance, sir. I'll count to 100 if you let me. I have 35 here, looking for 36, 36, 37. I have the lady at the table at $3,600. You're looking for 37. She's flexing her muscles, sir. $3,600. You're looking for 37. Sir, don't look at her. Look at me. I have $3,600. You're looking for $3,700. Where? $3,600. You're going once. $3,600. You're going twice. $3,600. You're going 3 times. $3,600. And thank you for using your paddle here tonight, madam. And give her a round of applause here. She's been using it, raising that paddle. This is lot number 4. It's no typical day at the ballpark.
Times never felt so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would.
Little Neil Diamond. Walsh Brothers luxury box seats. Red Sox tickets for 20. 20 Walsh Brothers luxury box seats. That's first of all. 2, Boston Park Plaza, 2-night stay for dinner for 2 in pairings. 3, drinks at Eastern Standard Kitchen, a few blocks from Fenway, this most elegant sports bar in the country, a bit of Paris by the Citgo sign. Number 4, you'll have a 7-night Palm Island Resorts and Grenadines, an exclusive whole island resort, escapist search, elegant Caribbean retreat, untouched natural surroundings, public areas at thatch, bamboo, terracotta, gorgeous. This only includes accommodations. All exclusive resorts and extra daily fees apply. Is there an opening donation here? We got to get to that $600,000 goal. Help me out. Help me help you. I'm not the one that's being roast here tonight. Is there an opening donation here? $10,000 to get this this one going for the Whittier Health Center here. $10,000 here. $5,000, you tell me. $5,000 here just for the spot treatment alone. $4,000 here if you charge at Fenway. You're going to make money off this one. $2,000. Where is anybody out there? $225. I have the gentleman way back at $2,000 here looking for 21. We'll play. I have $2,000 here looking for 21 here. 21. I have 21. You did a bit of 22. You did a bit of 23. You did a bit of 23, sir. 23. You did a bit of 24. 23. Here, you did a bit of 24. You did a bit of 25, sir. I have 25, 26, 26, 27. Here we go. 27, 28, 28, 28, 29, 29. 3 grand, 3 grand, 3 grand. I can't tell, sir. I have 29, $3,000 here looking for 32.50 now, sir. It's varsity's over. Varsity time. $33,000 here. 32.50, sir. 32.50. 35, sir. 35. I have 32, 35, 37.50. I have the gentleman at 35 here looking for 37.50 now, sir. Now, sir, $37.50, $4,000 here. You can't get tickets this year. Understand? $42.50, $45, $47.50. $47.50. I have the gentleman at $4,500. You're looking for $47.50. Please raise your card now. $47.50. $5,000, sir. $5,000. $52.50. You're gonna go to the game anyway, sir. You know it and I know it. $5,000. You're looking for $52.50. $52.50. Where are we? Who? Put your card up. I can't see them. $52.50. I have $5,000. You're looking for $52.50. Gentleman in the middle at $5,000. You're looking for $52.50. $52.50, $55, who? $55, $57.50. We're gonna roast them right now. $57.50, $6,000, sir. I'm right here, sir. I'm right here. I'm right here. $6,000, $62.50. Now's the time to step up to the plate. I have $6,000 here looking for $62.50. Nothing for this package at all. $6,000 here looking for $62.50. $62.50, $65, sir. Just hold your card up, sir, until I say sold. Just leave it right there, sir. $62.50. I have the gentleman at $62.50 here looking for $6,500. Where? $62.50. Nothing for this package at all. $62.50 here looking for $6,500. Where? Oh, bidding at $62.50. Gentleman here in the center ring going once. $62.50 going twice. Hello there, sir. My little huckleberry. I have 65, you did it at $67.50 now, sir. We got players here, $67.50, sir. Did you talk about it at the table? Everyone's gonna go. $67.50, 7,000. 20 people, Red Sox. 20 people, sir. I have $67.50 here looking for $7,000. Look where your money is going. Look where you're going here tonight, sir. 7 grand, $72.50. I have $7,000 here looking for $72.50. $7,000 here looking for $72.50. I can't tell, sir. I have a gentleman at $7,000 here. Help me, help you, sir. $7,000 here looking for $72.50. What happened, sir? There's a 2-bid minimum at the bar tonight. Can you step up and give me another one? I have $7,000 here looking for $72.50. 71, sir. Does that help you out? $71.99.99. I have $71.72. I have $7,100. You're looking for $7,200. Where? You know, sir, I love how you bid, sir. Your timing is impeccable. This ain't Christie's. All right, it ain't Christie's. 72, 73. I have the gentleman at $7,200. You did it at 73, 75. Way to step up, my man. 75, 8 grand. Let's stop here. I have $7,500. You're looking for $8,000. Where? A man who knows how to bid. I like it. 75, 8,000 now, sir. 8,000. I gotta go. Going once. I'm hooked like a train and I'm leaving the station, sir. And you're not going to the Red Sox game here today. I have 75 here. You're out, sir. O-U-T. $7,500. You're looking for $8,000. Where? Oh, is it at $7,500? You're going once. $7,500. You're going twice. $7,500. You're going 3 times. $7,500 to you, sir. And thank you for stepping up. Appreciate it. Hold your number up here. All proceeds are here. We need to get to $600,000 here tonight. This is it. There was 5 VIP, and this is the last one. For the Boston sports fan who needs a vacation.
Walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, I'm walking on sunshine. Well, and don't it feel good?
For Boston sports fan who needs a vacation. This is the last one. 4 Red Sox box seats at the first baseline, TBD. 4 Patriots. Now you say, what game? What game? Your choice. You make the choice. You go to the game you want to. 4 Patriots tickets. Seats are at Fidelity Investment Clubhouse. Include VIP pregame, on-field passes, VIP parking, souvenir autographs, ticket parking, on-field experience Priceline, Back Bay Hilton Getaway, if you can get the tickets. Evening for 2, one-night stay with a complimentary breakfast, deluxe accommodations at Back Bay Hilton. Lot number here, number 4, 7 nights at the St. James Club in Antigua. Renowned resort for private settings, panoramic ocean views, spectacular powder white beaches, private locals situated in the tip of the magnificent 100-acre peninsula. This includes accommodations, exclusive resort, and extra daily fees apply to food, drink, and extra entertainment. Now you can see they have a starting bid of $5,000. Value on these are about $15,000. Third of the value. Is there an opening donation to get this one going? Let's hit our goal here tonight. $10,000. Where do you want to start? I don't care now. $5,000 should be over to $5,000 here. Patriots, Red Sox. $5,000 where? $3,000 should be able to get this one going here. $3,000. Hello. I have $3,000 here looking for $3,250. $3,000 here looking for $3,250. I have the lady again at $3,000 here looking for $3,250. I have $3,000 here looking for $3,250. $3,000 here looking for $3,250. $3,250, madam. $3,500, madam. $35. I have $3,250 here looking for $3,500. $35. $3,750. $3,750. I have $3,500 here looking for $3,750. Are we looking at the same package I see up there? $3,500 here looking for $3,750. Hello. I have the lady here at $3,500. You'd have been at $3,600. Where is there an opening donation? You'd have been $35. You'd have been at $3,600 here. Patriots, Red Sox, and a vacation. I have $3,500 here looking for $36. I gotta go. I have $3,500 here looking for $3,600 here. Anyone else? I gotta go. $3,500 here looking for $36. Hi, sailor. $36, $37. I have $3,600 here looking for $37. Gentlemen at the table's in. I have $3,600. You'd have been at $37. You're out. You're out. You're out. He's in. I have $3,600 here looking for $3,700. Where? $3,600 here looking for $37. I gotta go. $3,600 here looking for $37. Oh, bidding at $36. You're out, madam. I have 36. Oh, 37, 38, sir. 38, sir. 38, 39, 39. Let's make a difference here for the Whittier Street Center here tonight. 39, $4 grand. You're gonna go on vacation, sir. $4,041. I have $4,000. You deserve a vacation. Everyone does. For now, 41, sir. I have 41. You have 42. Thank you, sir. 43. Oh, is that saying goodbye, sir? Were you saying goodbye? Oh, don't raise your hand like that, sir. Don't do that. You're getting roasted tonight. Everything's going on. I have $4,100. The lady and he was saying goodbye. 42. $4,100 here. Come on, let's raise some money here tonight. $4,100. You're looking for 42. I have $4,100. You're looking for 42, sir. 42. Walk through the door of opportunity, sir. 42. 43. 43, madam. 43. Hang in there. You're a fighter. 43. 44. 44, sir. I feel like you're on a boat, sir. And I'm a sailor. 44, 44. I have the lady here at $4,300. You're looking for 44, sir. Could we advance the bid to 44? I have 43, 44, down 5. I have $4,400 here. A little bit of 44, you did a bit of 40, you did a bit of 44, you did a bit of 45, you did a bit of 40, you did a bit of 40, you did a bit of 40, you did a bit of 45. I have 45, 46. 46, sir. Lady at $4,500 here looking for 46. I gotta go. Oh, busy at $4,500 here going once. $4,500 here going twice. $4,500 here going 3 times. The lady again, $4,500. Give her a round of applause here. Boston, you're a generous crowd. We appreciate your support in more ways than one. My name is Charles Bailey Gates. I hope we raise some money here. Good night and enjoy the rest of your evening.
We have to give him a better round of applause than that. Unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, again, just a reminder, all the proceeds from tonight's festivities will directly benefit Whittier Street Health Center and allow them to continue providing essential health and social services in the greater Boston area. Now, during dinner, please pay attention to all of the displays as you'll be able to learn more about Whittier Street services. And before we move on to dinner, I'd like to quickly invite the senior pastor of the historic Roxbury Presbyterian Church, Reverend Herman E. Hamilton, for our invocation. Let's welcome him.
Could I invite you to please stand since we're in this together? Tell somebody at your table we're in this together. Let me hear you. You can do that a little louder. Tell somebody else we're in this together. Very good. Reach out and catch someone's hands, please. Every head bowed, every eye closed. God, we come to you from many places of faith tonight, but into a common space of commitment. And into this common space of commitment, we are mindful and thankful for the progress that has been made against the devastating and ravishing effect of cancer, the second leading cause of death in our nation. And we are grateful tonight for the gift and example and contributions of Dr. Edward Benz, Jr. and his Dana-Farber team. For Dr. Ben's skills, values, and vision, we say thank you. Can somebody say thank you? For his commitment to ensure one of the nation's leading cancer treatment and research centers does its part to eliminate the vast disparities of cancer mortality in underserved communities, the very communities served by Whittier Health Center, we say thank you. Can someone say thank you? For his vision that has brought to these communities increased screening, diagnosis, and treatment for breast cancer and prostate cancer in the most vulnerable populations, we say thank you. For a vision that helped to establish Cancer Survival Clinic and continues to support the construction of a new state-of-the-art building to house the Whittier Health Center, we say thank you. Now, God, we ask that you would bless him, his family, and his work for years to come. And we also ask that you would bless the visionary and dynamic leadership of the director of Whittier Health Center, Ms. Frederica Williams, and her team. And we ask that you would bless finally each of us as we eat, laugh, and are inspired by Dr. Benz's humility and two institutions' great commitment. And may we be so blessed and so inspired that each of us will be moved to follow Dr. Benz's example and become a part of the team tonight. Make it possible through our commitment for untold numbers to experience what LaToya Edwards, Richard Wass, and many of our late loved ones who we've lost to cancer dreamt of: life-saving cancer treatment and healthcare services. We ask this in all the ways that we know you. I ask this in the name of your Son, who healed the sick and raised the dead. Amen.
And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Tonight we have our first roaster, who is Ed's predecessor and friend. He will start the roasting for the evening. I just have to tell you that Ed told me as he was sitting here, he said, LaToya, you know, I can't hear in my left ear. That's why I have all the roasters to the left of me, so I don't have to listen to what they say. Now, Dr. David Nathan is currently president emeritus of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. He served as the chief of hematology at Children's Hospital Boston, and then the chief of hematology and oncology at Children's Hospital Boston and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. He's a great person. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our first roaster, Dr. David Nathan.
Well, that's the ultimate insult. I mean, I think that's outrageous to play that damn song. You know, how many times have I sat on the Harvard side of Harvard Stadium not wanting to hear that song? That's Ed Benz's song. And I'm jealous about a lot of stuff. Now, you heard Frederica tell a lot of lies about Ed. I always thought Frederica was a terribly honest woman, but she really let you have it tonight. I mean, and did you notice Ed's entrance? Did you notice that? I mean, he marched in here like Napoleon. I thought that was another outrage. Nobody marched me in here like Napoleon. They played Boola Boola. So I'm jealous. And it all began for me with this guy way back in the 70s when he was just a medical student and nobody was marching him in like Napoleon. In fact, he came to me because he wanted to do research on people, whereas the Harvard Medical School, and the dean is right here, had said you can't study people ever. You got to study just bacteria. And Ed didn't want to do that. And at that vital meeting, which was a lunch meeting, I was able to get him, the student, to pay for the lunch. And he's been very mad at me ever since. In fact, he's been quite mean, as far as I can say. Now, what I've done in revenge is to take as much credit for his work as I possibly can. And then in his revenge, he replaced me, which I thought was terribly unfair. In fact, it was Gary Countryman who couldn't wait to tell me, you're leaving, we've got a much better guy. So in he came. And ever since then, if you'll notice, he carefully sits me always on his left side. He can't hear a thing out of that ear. I've been totally powerless ever since he arrived. I just sit there and he's quite mean, you know. Calls me day and night to go and do little errands for him. I really can't stand it. But for some reason, we're tolerating it. And we're particularly tolerating him tonight. Because, in all seriousness, he does have a passion about taking care of people. He's a wonderful scientist and a great guy in many ways, but his real passion is to make sure that people are treated fairly. And that's what this evening is all about, fairness. Ed, thanks for being you.
I was told that he was supposed to be the mild one, so my goodness, what a night we have planned. Okay, next up, we have a longtime mentor, Dr. Nancy Berliner. Dr. Berliner is currently the chief of the Division of Hematology for Brigham and Women's Hospital. She was the president of the American Society of Hematology in 2009. She just told me that she didn't want to follow that act right there. Don't worry, any insult against Ed we'll take. Don't worry, we'll laugh. Let's welcome Dr. Berliner to the stage.
Thank you. So I just got back from China, and I'm kind of jet-lagged, and I managed to screw up my slide. So they tried to fix it. We'll see if my little piece of movie works here. So, I don't know, I guess, did I change the slides here? Well, we'll see. So, I've known Ed Ed has been my mentor for over 25 years. Probably shouldn't say that because it'll give you an idea of how old I am. And it's always struck me that Ed has been a leader in many, many different ways. And I think actually he had the potential to lead in a lot of different areas. And so when he started, he had great potential to be a leader, a religious leader. In fact, I suspect his family may have had ambitions for him that were quite different from those that he later fulfilled. Unfortunately, he went to high school where he took a biology course where they tried to teach him about chromosomes. And his father, who is actually here tonight, was the one who informed him that his book was out of date since in 1951, which was a few years before he was in high school, said that man had 48 chromosomes. And in fact, his father was the one who informed him that in fact man has 46 chromosomes and apes have 48 chromosomes. Now, Ed went to a Catholic school, and the nun asked him the next day, how many chromosomes does man have? And he said, 46. And she said, no. And I imagine she was surprised, because I suspect he usually had the right answers. And he said, well, actually, the book is wrong. My father has told me man has 46 chromosomes. Apes have 48 chromosomes. Man have 46 chromosomes. So the nun was outraged and suggested that he was implying that man was inferior to apes because they had only 46 chromosomes. So she told him to write on the board 500 times. Oh, I missed my clue here. That man has 48 chromosomes. This is not going quite as quickly as I would have liked it to have. There we go. And then she told him that he had to go to confession. So here's where I think the story becomes slightly apocryphal, because I think this is breaking the rules. I'm not a Catholic, but I think this is breaking the rules. The next day she asked him if he went to confession, and he said yes. And she asked him what he said, which I don't think she's allowed to do. But in any case, as the story goes, he said, well, yes, I went to confession, and I told the priest that I had told a lie 500 times. So I think that finished him with his future in the church. So then he had to move into science, but he was still eager to be a leader. So he went to Yale, and around that time I was doing my fellowship, and I was working in the laboratory of a leader. His name was Philip Leader. And there he is. And when I moved to Yale, I had to transfer my grant from the Brigham to Yale, and I had a grant that was being sponsored and mentored by Philip Leader. And Ed had to write a letter to the NIH saying he was quite capable of being a leader. So I went to Yale, and that was when I started my long relationship with Ed. He didn't stay there that long, and he tried a certain period of time as an athletic leader, and then went to the Osler Medical Service at Johns Hopkins, where he became the Osler Professor of Medicine. I'm especially proud of that one. I think he did a really good job with the photoshopping there. And as an Osler Professor of Medicine, he was unique because he was the first Osler Professor of Medicine who had never been on the Osler Medical Service. And when you're on the Osler service as a house officer and you get trained, they give you a really special tie. And there was an enormous controversy as to whether or not he would be allowed to have one of those ties, which he did, in fact, ultimately get given to him by some form of dispensation, but he forgot to wear it. And there's another story that we don't have time to discuss at length. So he's had a long succession of positions as a leader. So to answer what David said, he has made frequent references to the fact that he is not terribly tall, although this picture makes Napoleon look pretty tall. And I think he did a pretty good job at that one, too. But actually, I think that Ed's leadership is something rather magical. So the leader that I think of is the man who leads, where's my last slide? Dumbledore's army. And Ed is leading the army against cancer. Thank you.
Very, very nice. Let's give her a round of applause, everyone. Okay, so you see how it's going. There's a little theme music to every roaster. And so the next clip that we're going to hear is from old Dan Tucker. So that will give you a little premise of a little preview of what we're about to hear from Dr. Joseph Martin. He's our next roaster. He is he's a professor of neurobiology at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Martin is the former dean of Harvard Medical School. During his tenure as dean of Harvard Medical School, he transformed the relationship between the medical school and its affiliated hospitals around their shared academic mission. He also improved diversity in leadership positions and created a new system of appointments and promotions. Please help me welcome Dr. Joseph Martin to the stage. Let's listen to your music.
Well, I asked for old Dan Tucker. You're too late to get your supper. You may get the gist of my comments from that on this wonderful occasion. Late for supper, late for dinner, late for meetings, late for his wedding, but late for a football game? Never. The first time that I met Ed Benz was in 1995 when he was at Johns Hopkins in that role that we just heard about, and I was at the University of California, San Francisco. I'd been invited for an interview when they were looking for a new dean and vice president to run the medical complex. I always arrive ahead of time. I get anxious if I'm late. It was 6:30. Ed had been there a few minutes before. We had a great chat and instantly had a sort of bonding feeling toward each other until we realized that we were missing the main party, which had been scheduled for 7 o'clock in another room. Ed had thought the party was scheduled for 6, so he was only 30 minutes late. Little did I appreciate at the time that we would end up together at Harvard Medical School when I became the dean and he led the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, or that he would arrive late for every meeting we ever had. At Harvard, Ed served on one of the faculty advisory committees that I chaired, which deliberated over issues of medical school student teaching, faculty promotions, and how to get our esteemed hospitals to work together. Not only was Ed always late, he would take a seat and then immediately begin pontificating as though he'd been there all the time and had heard it all. I was puzzled by this. Was our opening discussion so mundane that it made no difference in what would come later? Or was Ed actually unusually prescient and knew when the start of a meeting would be like it wasn't really worth being there for the first 15 minutes. I came to conclude after a dozen of these rude interruptions, with Ed arriving late, hair messed up from a walk down Shattuck Street in his long black overcoat, that he knew better than the rest of us that the first 15 minutes of any academic discussion is wasted time. Our first social visit, Rachel, my wife, and I, with Ed and Peggy Benz, was during their recruitment to Boston. I knew that Ed had been a graduate of Harvard Medical School, a famous class of 1973, class with Michael Rosenblatt, who went dean at Tufts Medical School recently, Bob Martuzza, who's head of neurosurgery at the Mass General, Ora Platt, who directs the blood bank at the Children's Hospital, all of whom were professors at Harvard. His would be a homecoming. My wife Rachel and I scheduled a meeting to convince them to come to Boston, and for once Ed was on time. The only time I ever recall that he made it. I sensed that Peggy had dragged him to the meeting. Later, we were invited to a dinner party at their home. I warned Rachel that we had to be 30 minutes late or we would catch Ed in his shorts. After Ed and Peggy left Brookline, they moved to a lovely remodeled fourth-floor condominium downtown on Beacon Street, directly across the street from the State House. We wanted to see what they had moved into, since we were also contemplating downsizing. After a cocktail, Ed proudly noted that they could peer directly into the governor's office across Beacon Street. I was intrigued. As I gazed out the window, I noticed bars covering it. Turning to Peggy, I asked, what was that for? What's that for? Oh, she said, that's only from August to February. It's to keep Ed from jumping out the window when the Pittsburgh Steelers lose. Ed, I have a gift for you. Come on over here. This is an antidote, a treatment, a hope, a cure for your persistent tardiness.
My first fear was that it's a Patriots t-shirt. Too heavy for that. Is this an alarm clock?
It's from Pottery Barn.
They sponsor. Well, you now understand why I didn't become a surgeon. He's getting old. He's got arthritis. Oh, wonderful. Another alarm clock I can ignore.
There. Ed, all I can say is, and I want to let you know that you're always worth waiting for.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, it's one thing to have your friends make fun of you and insult you. It's another thing when your own child will do it in front of a lot of people. Now, I was speaking with Tim earlier, and we talked about, you know, he's in broadcasting, and we talked about some things like that. He's the host of the X Morning Show for 105.9 FM in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's also a sportscaster. And I said, you know, your dad seems like such a nice guy. And he's like, well, yeah, you won't think so after I finish my speech tonight. I said, okay. And I also said to his dad, I said, you know, he's a really great kid. And he's like, you know, I don't know, we don't get along that well. So I don't know what to expect tonight. I see on my script here that the clip to introduce, the theme apparently that you talked about with Frederica is that you chose the song Renegade to introduce you, so that just sets the tone right there. Let's welcome or give a big applause to Tim Benz, son of Dr. Benz.
I'm about to feel
Thank you. That's the song they play at Heinz Field for the Steelers whenever they need a big third down stop. It never works against Tom Brady, so I'd hope it works for me here tonight. I saw some people get a little bit nervous when I brought this bag up here. I'm not a prop comic. I'm not Gallagher. There's not a sledgehammer or a cantaloupe in there. Nothing bad's going to happen. But I will warn my father about this. This has been way too easy. Before I begin my roast, I need to acknowledge that we are, though, in the presence of a great man. A man of many degrees, a man of many honors, a man with a pioneering mind. He's a great doctor, a wonderful father. So let's have a round of applause for my grandfather, Dr. Ed Benz Sr. He's sitting right there. In my family, comparing my dad to my grandfather is kind of like comparing Nancy Sinatra to Frank. For folks who don't know, I wasn't kidding before. My grandfather really is a very well-respected doctor, and until tonight, I'm sure he was pretty proud of himself for how he raised his son. To be honest, my grandfather's accomplishments dwarf my father's, and that's really saying something, since it's hard to dwarf a guy who barely stands 5.5 feet tall. I want to thank the other roasters tonight. I've laughed a lot more than I expected. Normally, Ivy League doctors are to comedy what Republicans are to teachers' unions. Save the budget, save the laughs. But you've all done a wonderful job. Thank you for cutting the legs out from under my father, little as those legs may be. I was a little nervous coming up after a bunch of Ivy League doctors are making jokes. It's going to be like Charlie Sheen in Detroit. That thing's coming to Boston, you know, and that's going to be the worst thing to hit Boston since Bucky freaking Dent. It is great to be back in Boston. I was born here, and eventually I wound up in Pittsburgh. Ironically, my dad was born in Pittsburgh and eventually wound up in Boston. The only other Pittsburgh export to do as well as my father in Boston is Terry Francona. Then again, with the start the Red Sox are off to this year, I'm not sure my dad wants that kind of company. There is some Red Sox news today. I just got a text alert on my iPhone. The Sox have fired the team trainer and replaced him with a new doctor. He's not from Harvard, though. I think he's from Michigan, and his last name is Kevorkian. Sorry, that's an old joke. I stole that joke, much like my dad stole most of his research from Dr. Nathan. Honestly, you Red Sox fans are out of control. They get swept in one lousy series to start the season, 6 months left, and you people are trying to kill yourselves in the streets. Try being a Pittsburgh Pirate fan like my father and I. The Pirates are so bad, they've set a record for futility in pro sports. They've finished with a losing record 18 years in a row. No North American professional baseball, football, hockey, or basketball team has ever done that, ever. 18 consecutive losing seasons. Its losing streak is so long, technically you can have sex with it. Speaking of having sex with 18-year-olds, if you ever want to make my father mad, just bring up our city's quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. Here in Boston, when Patriots fans scream, "No, no, no," at Tom Brady, it's just because he's about to throw into double coverage. When Roethlisberger hears that, it usually means something much worse. In advance of tonight's roast, I read a How to Roast book by comedian Jeffrey Ross. It's entitled, "You Only Roast the Ones You Love." So this is going to be short. Much like my father. This is the second time I've been asked to roast my father. Harvard asked me to do so back at his birthday party when he turned 60, back in 1981. I really don't get this. This is weird. He's just my dad. I thought my dad's biggest accomplishment in life was a walk-off bloop single in a residents versus faculty softball game back when he was at Johns Hopkins. Dad, you've been holding on to your 15 minutes of fame longer than Lady Gaga. When the Whittier Street people first contacted me, they said, "Tim, we want you to roast a Harvard man who's a great orator, a person of utmost esteem, a leader of men. But since Barack Obama's making his final 4 picks on ESPN, could you just tell a few jokes about your dad?" Actually, my dad is like Obama in a certain way. You deserve this honor about as much as he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009. Too soon? I already feel bad about making that joke about my father and my grandfather. My dad has lived in my grandfather's shadow for a long time now. But when you're 5'7", living in somebody's shadow really isn't that hard to do. He could live under a mushroom like a Smurf. I should stop with the short joke since I'm lacking in height too, but gee, where do you think that came from? You'd think a doctor who had worked his whole life in genetic science would have been able to do something about that. I always really regretted the fact that my father spent so much time on trivial matters such as battling sickle cell anemia and leukemia and cancer and various other blood-related disorders, instead of doing something far more constructive, such as figuring out a way to make me 6'8" with a 40-inch vertical leap and give me 4.2 speed in the 40. But even if I had all that, Tom Brady still never would have found me open against the Jets in the playoffs. I was told I could tell that joke because Bob Kraft wasn't here tonight, so. Well, a lot of people have asked me, do I have enough material to roast my father? Do I have enough at my fingertips? Yeah, I got enough. In the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. That would be way too boring. You know, like one of your lectures? I was a fussy baby. And my mom frequently tells me about the time that my dad had to drive me around the streets of Boston to make me fall asleep. She thought it was the motion of the car that made me drowsy. What she really didn't know was that my father spent the whole time practicing some of his speeches in a mutated hemoglobin or something like that into a dictaphone while he was driving. 4 minutes of that and I passed out like a wino into a brown paper bag before we hit Comm Avenue. Just try getting this guy off his academic high horse for 5 seconds. Imagine what it was like having my dad proofread your homework. Every book report, every spelling test, every math quiz somehow turned into a 4-hour dissertation on messenger RNA. All I wanted to know was some basic long division. All I wanted to know is what to do with my remainder. He wanted to bore me with details of the double helix. Every night my dad would yammer endlessly into that stupid dictaphone, but upon further review, those mind-numbing, boring verbal notes ended up to be something. His mental notes eventually got turned into a book that he ended up editing. It was a big seller in the medical community, and you can still buy that book on Amazon.com. And if you purchase it, you'll see a pop-up that says, other people who bought this book also purchased a bottle of vodka, NyQuil, and a lifetime supply of Unisom. That book was utterly unreadable. But maybe that's because you were too busy caring about my sister, you never taught me how to read. If you look up the word windbag in the dictionary, well, there's a picture of Rush Limbaugh. But if you look closer, Rush is reading my father's book. A lot of people say that Ivy Leaguers like my dad struggle with being pompous blowhards. But after reading that book, I beg to differ. I think my dad's really good at it. What else can be said about my father? Not much. Because he is so old now, he's going deaf in his left ear and he can't hear this stuff anyway. So if there's an opportunity for anybody in the audience who knows my dad and doesn't particularly like him, all you have to do is walk up and say, snot-nosed midget, silver spoon dwarf, and overpaid Napoleon complexed a-hole. Let me be the first to tell you that opportunity occurs anytime you're standing to his immediate left. So my father's old, big deal, he's a smart guy. He keeps telling me he knows exactly when the right date will be for him to leave the Dana-Farber Cancer Clinic. Unfortunately, those words don't really resonate anymore because those that work closely with him tell me earlier tonight that date was April the 24th, 2006. Dad, seriously, don't you think it's time to hang it up? Back when Dad first broke into this business, people called you a 5-tool doctor. They meant that you were a great thinker, a great teacher, a great researcher, great with patients, and a great administrator. Now the only 5 things you can boast are deafness, blindness, incontinence, senility, and ED. Sorry, Peggy. But lastly, Dad, I thought I'd do something a little bit more highbrow since I'm here in front of a bunch of Harvard types and everything, so I wrote you a poem. Another Boston-born poet. I think he was born here. It's inspired by The Raven from Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a Harvard Sunday jury, my father studied, weak and weary. His head was nodding, nearly tapping. That's when it came, tap, tap, tapping. It was a visitor, rap, rap, rapping at his dorm room door. I bet it's a raven, my dad said. I read this poem at Princeton before. Distinctly, Dad remembers it was a bleak that November. The date was November the 21st, 1974. So said the Boston Globe, resting on the floor. Quote the Raven, your son's been born at the Brigham, 4th floor. That's great, my dad said, but more importantly, what's the Steelers score? And the Raven sat there, stunned, never flitting, just there sitting. The Steelers are playing, yeah, that's great, but I just told you your son was born. Doesn't that matter more? No, said my dad, they're playing Dallas today. It's a big game. What's the Steelers score? So the Raven flew back to Cleveland and I guess eventually Baltimore. So began this relationship between me and my dad, some of it good, some of it bad. But because of that day, one bond we've shared as a team with great football lore. And I'd been happy to roast him again. But after tonight, to quote the good doctor, I'm assuming, nevermore. Thanks, Dad. Thanks to the Whittier people. Thanks to Harvard. Thanks to everybody for having me.
Wow. Thanks to all of our wonderful roasters. I would now like to invite Ed to join us at the podium. After hearing the inside scoop from all of the roasters, it is now Ed's turn to make his remarks. Before he has his time for payback, Tim, I have asked one of our patients, Devin Williams-Agyeman, and our board chair, to help me with this with the presentation of this award. The award we are presenting you tonight is for all you have accomplished as a true quarterback for cancer care. Your commitment to expanding quality cancer care to Boston's low-income and underserved communities has been critical in addressing significant disparities in cancer. We thank you for your work. On behalf of the staff at Whittier Street Health Center, the board of directors, and our patients, thank you for all you have accomplished for our community. Devin? Present it. Shake his hand. Shake his. Okay, and say, read your things. Okay.
Dr. Benz, on behalf of the Whittier Street Health Center's patients, I am honored to present you with this award. Thanks for being our quarterback for cancer. We are grateful for your leadership and support.
Thank you. And now the chair of our community board will also do a presentation. Deborah Miller, thank you.
Well, first of all, before I present this to Dr. Benz, I want to just thank each and every one of you from the board, from the staff, and from the patients of Whittier Street Health Center for being here tonight and for supporting us day in and day out, whether it's your first time at the event or whether it's, you know, you've been here many, many times. We are very, very grateful for your support. And we're very, very grateful for your support, Dr. Benz. Thank you so much for all that you do. And even though you're a Steelers fan, right, guys? Even though he's a Steelers fan, you know, we want you to have this to remember us always, and to remember this night as a huge memory for you. And thank you so much for all that you do.
It's your turn. Get the microphone.
Well, thank you all so much for spending the evening with us. It's been great of you to turn out, and thank you to Frederica and the board of the Whittier Street Health Center for picking me this year to be humiliated. I won't keep you at the podium long because while my son was talking, I was making an early morning appointment with my lawyer to take him out of my will. You've heard many people make deaf jokes about me and short jokes about me, so I think the next disparities issue I'm going to work on is deafness and shortism. I feel like I should be standing here like this after Nancy's talk. Actually, Troy Finn, who's one of the many wonderful people who helped organize this event, sent me an email about 10 days ago, and he said, you know, you do get a chance to make a rebuttal, and he said, I'll send you what previous roastees did. And the only one he could find was my good friend and partner in many ways in our leadership in Boston medicine and colleague, Gary Gottlieb. And Gary actually went through a very detailed dissection of each and every presentation. And I thought that was pretty daunting. And then I realized that's because he's a psychiatrist. So I think I should just turn the roasters over to him. There's nothing in my field of hematology that's going to help them. But I am very, very grateful to be this year's honoree and to have a chance to work with Frederica and the Whittier Street Health Center. You know, they say that quarterbacks get all the blame when the team loses, and they get all the credit when the team wins. And before I carry that thought any further, all the people on my staff who were in the pool to see how long it would take me to get to a sports metaphor, if you bet second paragraph, you win. But I am getting a lot of credit tonight by being here, not from my roasters, but I am getting a lot of credit for being here for the work of our institute, our phenomenal institute, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. So I would like all the people who are here. We have many people from our staff and from our partners at the Brigham and Women's Hospital and Children's Hospital, if they would stand really and take a round of applause for the work that they do that has made tonight possible. And the partnership that brought us together tonight and really was the basis for this event was work we've done with a phenomenal leader, Frederica, and with a great staff who have taken the notion of a community-based health center to another level and had the courage in their community to say, we trust an academic institute enough to actually partner with them and to begin to share in the care and prevention of cancer with them. So everybody from Whittier Street, would you please stand? Now, I don't want any of you to feel sorry for me about all these things that were said, because they were to my left. I didn't hear a single word. But I want to tell you a quick story about why I think I lost my hearing in my left ear. So Tim and others have pointed out that I have this congenital, incurable affinity for Pittsburgh sports teams, having been born in Pittsburgh. And Tim also pointed out that the Pirates right now are setting a record for futility. What he didn't tell you is the record they broke was their own. And that futility was set in the late 1940s and right on through the 1950s when I was in grade school in eastern Pennsylvania, growing up in Allentown and Bethlehem. And all of my friends rooted for the Phillies or the Giants or the Dodgers or the Yankees. That's a sign of how old I am. They were all in New York or Brooklyn at the time. So it was rooting for the Pirates was one of many excuses for ridicule. But in 1960, they won the National League pennant. Now, this is back in the days when there were only 8 teams in each league, and you went directly to the World Series, and they were playing the vaunted New York Yankees of Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Whitey Ford, Billy Martin. They would squeak out a win, and then they get beat 10-0. Then they squeak out a win, and they get beat 16-3. Then they squeak out a win, and they get beat 12-1, and it got to be the 7th game. Well, this was the time I entered 9th grade. I grew up in the Catholic school system. You went to grade school for 8 years, and then you went to high school. We went to a very large high school in our area of the country where over half the population was Catholic. Catholic high schools were like public schools for Catholic kids. We had over 2,500 kids in our school, and the freshmen were in a separate building. It was the beginning of ecumenism. You may think it started with John Paul XXIII. This building had been successively a Jewish community center, a freshman class for the Catholic high school, and the NAACP headquarters. So I had figured out by the beginning of September when we started high school that the Pirates, they were like 7 games ahead at that time. They might win the World Series. And you never got to listen to the Pirates or see them on TV back in those days. But with the pennant race going on, they would do this. So I walked around school with one of those brand new Philco transistor radios that just barely fit in your pocket with the earphone in my ear, my left ear. And the nuns would speak to me very loudly, say, "Edward, can you hear me?" And didn't know I was actually listening for the sports scores. And unfortunately, if those of you who remember the 1960 World Series, remember that the Pirates went ahead, and then they fell behind, and they went ahead and they fell behind, and then when it got to the bottom of the 9th inning, tie score. And for the first time in baseball history, this guy who was not a big power hitter by the name of Bill Mazeroski hit the second pitch thrown in that inning out of the ballpark, and the Pirates won the World Series. I was in Latin class. And I said, oh my, well, I better not say what I said. But it was sort of a very emotional version of "we won." And Sister Juliana did not take very kindly to that. And among the many punishments I was going to endure, would have had not the assistant principal who in charge of the freshman class also been a Pirates fan, probably saved my academic career. She said, "God will punish you." And so, sure enough, 40 years later, I lose the hearing in my left ear. And I thought that was punishment until tonight. I realized, as the nuns often do when you think they're punishing you, they're actually blessing you. So I was spared hearing most of what you all heard tonight. But I do want to thank you all for coming and for supporting this wonderful cause and this wonderful initiative that we at the Dana-Farber and our partners at the Whittier Street Health Center are trying to do. There isn't anybody in this room, if I asked anybody in this room who has never had a friend or family member touched by cancer, I don't think anybody would stand up. And that's what we're here for tonight. That's what we're battling. That's what we're going to conquer. And that, Tim, is when I'll turn my attention to our problem with being vertically challenged. So thank you all so very, very much.
Dr. Benz, thank you so much. I'm not making fun of you by raising this microphone. It just was low. I'm sorry. Now, on the tables this evening are beautiful flowers donated by Winston Flowers. And if you have a star on the back of your program, you're one of the lucky people to enjoy the flowers at your home. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all you have done this evening to honor Dr. Ed Benz and to show your support for Whittier Street Health Center. Have a safe trip home, and we hope to see you next year. Good night.